Twins Who Knit. My name is Rachel.
And I'm Jessica.
And if you are new here, this is our space where we talk about all the things that we've been knitting on recently, things that we finished, all the yarny things.
So this is our 8th episode. If you were here last time, well, first of all, welcome back. But it's been about 3 weeks since our last podcast. So we have lots of things to update you on. We've both got a couple of finished objects, a couple of whips, and then one acquisition. So we know 3 weeks is probably a little bit quicker than other podcasts, but since there's two of us, we tend to be, between the two of us, one of us is always finishing something, so hopefully that cadence is okay with you guys.
Yeah, and it'll probably actually be our last podcast of the year, because even though it's only, the second week of December, we are planning on trying to do a, everything I knit in 2023 video, or multiple, because we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do with that. We've both knit double digits worth of garments and then socks and accessories and all sorts of stuff, and so we're trying not to do it in a way that's going to take 3 hours, because we would not want to sit through a 3-hour video, and we're not going to ask you guys to do that either.
So our tentative plan is that we're thinking we're going to break it up into 3 different videos, and that way they're all on the, I don't know if shorter side's the right word, but an hour or less. So we're thinking we're going to do a my garments, your garments, and then accessories together, because there's a little bit less accessories, and those also tend to be a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and we've done some of the same too.
Yeah, so those will be, more or less the same.
Yes. But we're not we haven't started, we're not married to that idea. So if you're oh, I have a great idea for you, please let us know, because we would love to share everything that we made, but in a way that's going to be enjoyable to watch, I guess.
Yeah, accessible and not stale after you've been watching the same thing for over an hour. And
also a lot of people do those, and so
we love watching them. Our favorite thing is to just I don't know, see everything that someone made in the year, and it's kind of interesting to look back and reflect on oh wow, I really gravitated towards a certain color, or this was my year of cables or cardigan. It's kind of, you find themes and you're going through those, and so it's really fun to watch other people kind of discover those themes, or see what they gravitated towards. So we kind of want to do the same thing for ourselves too, and we're not planning on having it be as in depth as what we talk about in our podcast or anything, but it's going to be more of this is how the yarn held up, or I find myself really reaching for this type of sweater, or something like that.
Over time this happened, and all the things that go on when you've knitted throughout the year.
So long story short, let us know if you have ideas. That's our tentative plan though.
Yes. And then we're also thinking about, tell us I guess if you'd be interested in this, but we're thinking about also doing a 2024 goals video, and I think it'd be really fun to do that and then watch it back at the end of the year and see if we actually did any of the things that we said we were interested in doing. So that's another thing that we're thinking about, and just reasons that our next podcast will probably be at least a month from now. So just lots of different things that we're thinking about.
And speaking of 2024, we do have a retreat coming up in 2024 that we're looking forward to. This was gifted from Unwind, who is the
Unwind Fiber Studios.
Thank you.
Unwind Fibers.
Unwind Fiber Studios.
In Lee Summit. So,
which, if you guys have been watching, they're one of our absolute favorite yarn studios, or local yarn shops. So
I guess we should explain, because we did this a long time ago, but if you're a newer viewer, you might not know this about us. So we're from the Kansas City area, and so Unwind Fibers is in Lee Summit, which is a metro of Kansas City, or a suburb of Kansas City, metro area, I guess is how you would say that.
Yes.
It's a little offshoot. It's not a Kansas City address, but very, very close. And so they just have a really beautiful yarn shop there, and Tammy from Unwind has amazing yarn selections, so we find ourselves going there probably the most of all of our local-ish yarn shops. They just have really great style, and
so long story short, we were really excited when they reached out and asked if we would be interested in joining them for their retreat that's coming up in March. It's the Caring for the Maker's Body and Soul retreat, and so it's really about like holistically taking care of yourself while also, you know, being with other makers and knitters and people who love the fiber community. So there's several different options depending on if you're wanting to just go for the day or if you're wanting to spend the whole weekend and stay in a hotel and have meals with everyone and things like that. So we're going to have it linked down in the comments, and you can definitely look and see, you know, if there's a package that makes the most sense for you. But we're super excited about some of the people that are going to be there. We know Rochelle from Moondrake Fibers is going to be there.
And I think there's going to be like a little special shopping event for her stuff.
Yeah, and like an exclusive colorway, which we don't know what
it is yet. We're excited.
Historically, Moondrake has like really gravitated towards like our color palette that's like a little bit softer, more neutral.
We both did our champagne cardigans in Moondrake that we bought at Unwind. So I think we're going to be fighting over who gets to wear it because we're not going to match.
Yeah, we're not going to be those twins.
But we're like, who gets to wear the champagne cardigan?
Who else?
Andrea from the Knitting PT is going to be there. I'm super excited because we've been following each other on Instagram for quite a while now, and she has a great podcast too. So
I actually just got into her podcast.
Oh,
it
really?
was like new to me, and just in the past couple of weeks, I've like
gotten into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll just be a really fun event. We did not get to go to like Rhinebeck or Flocked or anything like that this year. In fact, we've never been to like a knitting festival or a yarn festival or anything. So we're excited just to like go to something like this and get to meet people. And yeah, if you get to join us, it'll be really fun.
Yeah.
So.
We watched a lot of the, you know, like Rhinebeck videos and Woolen Folk, and obviously that was not as great as it could have been, but I think a lot of the things that people talked about were just like being in that community in which you can like share what you're working on, or, you know, like what patterns you're thinking about, and just have that like sense of community where everyone's like kind of on the same page and interested in the same thing. So yeah, we're excited to like be in that environment, and we'll keep you updated as to how that goes. But yeah, if you're interested in joining us, we'd love to meet you there. So more information will be down in the comments.
And we should talk about what we're wearing next.
Yes. Do you want to go first?
It's our Christmas episode. I was like so excited. Jessica walked in wearing, this is my house that we're in. Jessica walked in wearing the Christmas sweater. I was like, I love it so much. So yeah, I'll go first on mine. I'm wearing the Festive Yoke sweater by Skeindeer Knits. And she has lots of different ways to do this. Like you can do like a full body color work, with like color work on the sleeves and everything like that, or she tells you where you can like cut the color work off. And then she also gives like all sorts of motifs so you can change out if you don't like the reindeer or something like that. So yeah, I talked about this a lot last episode, but it is finished now, so it's one of my finished objects.
I think in the last episode you talked about how you weren't super happy that the reindeer's antlers didn't come out as prominent as.
Yeah, I wonder.
Does it bother you now? Are you going to go back and fix it, or?
That's a good question. I did have several people comment when I showed it last time that said, and I'll try to put a picture to like make it close up for this, that said I should go back and duplicate stitch it, and I might.
It's a good idea. Just
it is a good idea. Yeah, it's just something that I'm like, oh, do I want to do that? But the answer is I should. So maybe. Also, I mentioned last time, now that we're talking about it, that in this pattern, I thought the short rows were, like for the back, the short rows were very weird. I didn't understand them. And I was on Ravelry, and it seemed like there were mixed opinions. Like some people were like, the short rows are fine, they work perfect for me. And some people were like, I'm with you, I have no idea. And so I wonder if it's like based on your size, like some sizes the short rows are weird and some they're fine or what, I don't know. But I just ended up creating my own short rows for this, and I think it turned out fine. I'm happy with them.
Yep.
And then I also modified the sleeves a tiny bit because one thing that I also saw on Ravelry was that people were saying the sleeves were kind of tight. And actually, I don't think that it would have bothered me to have tight sleeves on this. But on my size, when it said to decrease every, hopefully this isn't giving too much away. On my size, it said to decrease every like 8th row or something like that. And I decreased every 9th. So whatever it said, I just added 1 to it. So there were slightly fewer decreases, which I think ultimately I'm glad I did, just because they are so wide up here that I think if I went super tiny down here, that might have been kind of a weird,
would have felt a little swancho-y.
Yes, and so I don't think this was like a crazy modification that I did, but I am kind of glad that I loosened the sleeves just a little bit because I think it makes it a little bit more cohesive with how the fit up here is, if that makes sense. And so I knit this with, I kept the label. So it's Elk Market is the shop, and then the like hand-dyed brand that they specifically carry is called Sagan hand-dyed yarn. I wonder if I can get the label up here. And so I did this in their light DK, I think is how they described it, Boramets Hearth, and it's 75% BFL, 25% Masham. I'll put that up there too, if that helps people at all. We are shooting with a new camera today. I don't know if you'll be able to tell or not.
It'll be in the comments if it's not.
Hopefully, but it's kind of hard for us to tell if it's focusing or not. So yeah, we'll put all of the details in the description too if that's helpful at all for people. And then the color work, or the contrast color for the color work, I knit with Brooklyn Tweed, Loft, and the color Fossil. And I don't think I kept the label for that one. So yeah, that's what I made mine out of. And
well, this was a finished object in our last podcast, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details about it. If you're interested, please feel free to go watch that video. But just some basic information. This is the Holly sweater by Knitting for Olive, obviously, because it has some holly. And I did use Knitting for Olive yarn, so I used their Merino held with their soft silk mohair, and the colorways cream, bottle green, and then the red is actually from Knit Picks. It's their cloud lace alpaca held together with their mohair, which is called A Loft, in the red colorways. But yeah, I'm super excited. I've worn it to one Christmas party so far, and I'm wearing it to another one this coming week. So I did make the sleeves a little long, but I just rolled them up, and it hasn't bothered me so far. So I don't think I'm going to go back and fix it. Yeah, they look fine. They feel fine. It hasn't bothered me. If it starts to bother me, you know, it's always a possibility, but I don't think I'm going to do that at this time.
I think they look fine rolled up, personally.
Yeah. So.
And if this was a sweater that you could wear, like, all the time, I'd say go back and fix it. But I feel like these are Christmas sweaters.
Yeah. And I don't know, with the collar, if it was like a wider collar to where I wanted to wear like a collared tee, that's saying collar a lot, but you know, like the collar underneath it or something, then maybe the sleeves would bother me because that would be like too thick around here. Mm-hmm. But I don't, it's high up. It's high up, so I don't think I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to leave it as is.
Yes.
I think to jump into your finished objects?
Yes, I've got, well, this is one of my finished objects. You finished that one last time, didn't you?
Yeah.
And so I have one more garment, and then I have some little things. So we'll share a garment, because I think you have a finished garment object as well. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I finished my Eva cardigan by PetiteKnit, and this was one that Jessica had also finished last time. We were knitting them together along with our friend Paige, and I was the last to finish, but that's okay. Actually, in the last podcast, I had said, like, oh, Jessica's finished, Paige is still working on it, and I'm probably in last place. And then I think like an hour after we stopped recording that, she texted and was like, I'm done. I was like, oh, okay. So that's okay because honestly, I'm so happy with how it turned out. I used Pickles, which is a yarn store I had not ordered from before, but I really, really liked it. Their soft merino, I believe is what it's called. And the color name is something, but then in parentheses, it's yellowish olive green. So their yellowish olive green color is what I used for this. And when it came in, I mean, this was like, this yarn is so soft. I was like, I can't even believe it. I will say, I'm kind of like looking for a spot to showcase this. I wonder if you'll be able to see it. Let me see if I can hold this up and have it focus. It is already somewhat starting to pill, and I've only worn it a handful of times. I am not shocked by this. As soon as it came in and I felt how soft it was, I was like, ooh, this might pill. But I love the color so much that I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna use it. And so I will say, if you like this color or if you are interested in this yarn, be aware that it is going to pill. But other than that, I'm really happy with it. And we've shared this a couple times, so I'm not really sure if there's anything else I need to add.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Eva
But
Cardigan,
yeah, right here you can see where it's like
Yeah,
where your
maybe there.
sleeves rub on it. You can
Yeah.
see where it's really pilling.
Well, I also wore it while we were working on some Christmas tree stuff, and we've got a flocked tree. Oh yeah, right there, you can see it pretty good. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. But while we were doing the like Christmas tree stuff, the flocked stuff stuck to it, and then when I'd pull it off, I felt like that created some pills too. Like, this is gonna pill real bad, so we're just gonna have to take care of her, but it is okay. It'll be worth it. And yeah, I just really like the fit. I think it's a pretty good classic cardigan. Can't go wrong with a PetiteKnit. She's pretty classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go into my finished object cardigan. This one was almost finished last time. I think I just had like one sleeve to go. I don't remember which sleeve it was, but I think I just had a sleeve to finish. So she's finished. She's all woven in and blocked and everything. And this is the Artisan Cardigan by Sandnes Garn Design, and I used the Sandnes Garn recommended yarn, which was Double Sunday, held together with their Tynn silk mohair, and both were in the color Almond. So honestly, it came out a little bigger than I was hoping it would. We'll put a picture in here of me wearing it so you can see the way they had it styled in the magazine was with like a white dress, and so I tried to recreate that. Hers was like a silk white dress and mine was like a linen white dress. But it's still a cute outfit. It's still a cute cardigan. I'll still find a use for it. It's just a little bigger than I was hoping it would be.
Do you think that's a gauge issue or blocking, or?
My gauge was actually like slightly smaller than it was supposed to be. So I think it's like a size, like it just runs large, which I knew it would have a lot of positive ease. I think it was like 12 inches of positive ease on me was like the smallest size. So I knew it would be a little bit big. I think it's not necessarily the width that bothers me. I think it's the yoke was a little deeper than I was hoping it would be. Like, if I was to make it again, I think I would figure out how to increase the like rate of increases down here so that the first button or like the last, because the first button hits with the last increase right here ish, and I think I would figure out how to make that like maybe up here instead. At this point, I'm not gonna go fix that. I like this sweater fine. It's not exactly how I pictured it, but I still like it. So I'm gonna leave it be, just like notes for if I was to ever remake it again in the future, that's what I would do. And honestly, I could see myself remaking it just for the sole fact that like this is the funnest knit. Like,
I was gonna say the asymmetry would be so fun.
It's so fun. Like, I talked about it last time, but like this zigzag was so much fun to knit. I absolutely loved it. So this was definitely more of like a process knit, maybe than a product knit. I like the product,
yeah.
And the moss stitch. I'm a sucker for moss stitch. Like, I love texture. So this was a really fun knit for me. I really enjoyed it. Minus having to redo the button band, which I talked about in the last podcast. That was the only not fun part. But other than that, I did really love making this sweater. So
yeah.
That's my first finished object.
I love it. How many did you say you had?
2.
Okay, so I can kind of share both of mine at the same time because they're both kind of in the theme of I haven't started another garment since I finished the cardigan and the sweater, because for some reason I have this imaginary pressure right now that if I start a garment, I'm going to want to finish it in 2023, and I just don't want to put that pressure on myself. So I'm like, I'm just going to take some time and knit some like smaller things, like I've been doing like some hats and stuff like that, but my Christmas knits is what I've been working on for the most part. So I showed a couple of these last time, but we've added to the tiny sweater collection. I'm trying to think which ones are the new ones. I know this one for sure is a new one. So we have another little tiny sweater. Oh no, is she gonna focus? Oh, they're so great. And yeah, I have like little brown ones. These look the same probably on the camera, but like they're different. And
are they?
Yeah, they are. Because this one is Coast to Coast Biscuits and this one is Coast to Coast One Bed from the Book Tropes collections. They're different, I swear. And so I've just been knitting a bunch of tiny sweaters. They make me so happy. They're the mini crop puff by, I can't think her name, but she's the Wandering Flock. I'll put it on the screen, or she owns the Wandering Flock, the yarn business, which has such beautiful colors. And so she made this as a free pattern. I showed them last time, and I've seen a lot of people knitting this, like not just me. I know Hip Knit Hooray has been knitting them, and some other people, but I've been having fun with them, so I want to make a garland. I don't think I'm going to have enough to finish this year, but we'll get there. I've been knitting on those, and then my other Christmas knit, since these are kind of quick ones I'll go through, is I took some of the yarn from this sweater and I turned it into a little December bow. Is she gonna focus? Maybe. I can also put a picture of it. She's pretty cute. So I originally was going to make a bunch because I've got a decent amount left from from this sweater. And so I was like, I'm gonna make some ornaments for the tree. The thing is though, is the yarn, because it's kind of a lighter DK, she flops a little bit. I think she's a little bit cuter when she's, I wonder if I can do this, like behind a flat surface to where it kind of pushes her little tail. Yeah, little tail of the bow. And so I think she'd really be cute on like a wreath or something, but then I thought, I don't know if I need like a bunch of these. So I may take the rest of this for like a Sophie scarf or something, but the December bow is really, really cute. So that's what I have been doing, is just knitting some like little Christmassy things. And yeah, I've started on a whip, but those are my only finished objects other than my garments.
I have one more finished object, so I'll share that one, and this one is a garment.
But you finished that one fast.
I did. I really liked knitting this one, so it was honestly so mindless. I was able to, there was one night I binged like the whole new season of The Crown that's out, you know, the season of like Princess Diana and everything. I literally just sat there and like watched the whole season in one night and worked on this sweater. So now that's what I associate with this sweater. But this is the number 5 Kelly sweater, also by Sandnes Garn. And I used the yarn recycled tweed, or tweed recycled. It'll be linked in the comments. In their green colorway, and it is 80% wool and then 20% cashmere. So it is super soft.
It's got cashmere in it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's way softer than it looks.
Yeah. It looks a little rustic, but it feels really soft. I was really impressed with this yarn, actually. I really liked it. And it's like a DK weight. I used size US 6, and the pattern calls for 4, but I went up a little bit just to achieve gauge. The only thing that I really modified about this pattern was that I didn't do the twisted ribbing, which was supposed to be on the collar, and then down the sides it has this like ribbing detail, and then down here at the bottom for the hem. Oh, I say it's too long to show, but you can see that the bottom has ribbing too. And really, I just didn't. I think in some patterns the twisted rib is really important because it adds that like definition to the ribbing. But this was one of those sweaters that I didn't really care about that, and I hate twisted ribbing. Like, I just hate doing it. It looks so nice, but like, it really hurts my hands. And so unless I feel it, if I feel it really adds something to the pattern, then I'll do it, which both of my whips have twisted ribbings right now, so I don't love that. But anyways, point is, I didn't think it was necessary for this pattern, and I didn't want to do it, so I just omitted it. But something that is unique about this pattern, I'm trying to get it in frame, is that it does have really high hem splits, or splits for the hem. Yeah, so it comes pretty high, actually. I did wear this to work with dress pants this week, and I had to wear like a cropped t-shirt underneath it. That way there wasn't like any skin showing. But I have also worn it over dresses, and I think it's really cute over a dress, because then, especially if it's like a more gathered dress or whatever, then the hem kind of like flows out, and you have this like little triangle on the side that will show your dress. So that's really cute. So I am, even though you kind of have to be creative when styling it with like normal pants, I think it kind of adds a versatility to the piece that I don't really have in any other garment. So I'm really happy with how that came out. honestly, I kind of want to make another one just because I really enjoyed making
so
it
impressed
so
by
much.
it. I feel like you just like flew through that.
I did. It went fast. It was a really quick knit.
What color would you do if you were going to make it again?
Like gray.
I like it.
I will say this yarn, while I loved it and it was really beautiful, it doesn't have a huge color range. There's like this green and like a red, like a beige and a gray. And I might be missing one, but there's like only 5 or 6 colors. It's not a huge color range, but it is so soft and I don't know. I really liked it. This pattern didn't have any short row shaping, so I was a little bit nervous about that. So if you're one of those people that is very sensitive to that, then this might not be the pattern for you, or you might, I don't think it would be that difficult to add it, to be honest, but just something to consider.
Yeah, I do like when they have short row shapings.
Yeah.
Okay, so I realized as I was thinking about my works in progress that I kind of forgot about a finished object-ish, because it was one that was a finished object last time and I wasn't happy with how it turned out, and so I went back and redid it. It didn't take very long. I should have done it at the beginning, but I am currently working on an Oslo hat, which reminded me that I went back and fixed my other Oslo hat. So let me put this on and see if y'all agree with me.
Oh, that's a lot better.
I think it looks a lot better. Last time, if you were with us for the previous episode, it was like up here or something, and it just looked bizarre. I was like, which I was so happy with like the crown part, and so I was like, oh, I don't know, it has potential. Like I was kind of bummed about it not being good here, and so what I ended up doing was ripping it back. Here, let me do this. I took it to where the decreases started, and I measured 2 centimeters down from that, took it back 2 centimeters in the body, and then I redid the crown. And I didn't reblock it just simply because the brim, it's like 6 layers when all's said and done, because the Oslo hat is like double folded and then folded again. So it's like 3. It's 3, and then
if you're
6.
blocking it flat, not like on something round.
Yeah, I blocked it flat. So it was like 6 layers of knitting.
I was like, what do you? Yeah, okay.
It took so long to dry that I was like, we're not gonna do that again. And so I just steam blocked the crown. I do think up close you can see a little bit of a difference from where part of the fabric was blocked and part of the fabric was not blocked. But it is not enough to bother me. Maybe eventually I'll go back and change that. But the length is just so much better. I'm so happy with it. So I did I think what we would consider the like women's size. And if you're nervous about the length, take it back 2 centimeters, because even though it looks a little bit funny flat, it looks way better when you're wearing it. I was like, oh, I should have done this at the beginning. So, and I bought this at Unwind too, so that was kind of nice. So that was my last finished object, kind of, because not terribly exciting to add to this, but I'm just working on another one. And this one I think I'll make a tiny bit longer than the other one, because I'm going to give this one to my husband maybe for Christmas if I finish it by then. But it's not like a pressure knit, like I'm just kind of working on it when I need something easy. So that's my first work.
What's the yarn for that one?
Oh, good question. It's Knitting for Olive Dark Cognac. Is that how you say it? This was yarn that I had in stash that I used partially for my stripe pipe sweater. And so I'm taking the rest of it. I had like 2.5 skeins, which I think should be plenty for this. And I'm just making an Oslo hat. I'm actually making Alex's, my husband's, the same size as what I made it, just a tiny bit longer. So I'm casting on I cast on the same amount of stitches that I used for my hat. And yeah, I'm just gonna do the same thing, except make his a tiny bit longer than mine. So yeah, love it. I feel like a lot of people are knitting Oslo hats right now. They make great gifts if you need an easy hat.
Yeah, it's nice that they're so mindless, because it's like 95% stockinette.
Yeah, actually the reason I started with the Oslo hats is because I have a friend who's learning how to knit and she wanted an easy project. I was like, Oslo hat. So that's how we started on that. But then actually my husband really wanted the green hat, and I was like, I want the green hat, and so I'm knitting him this dark brown one instead.
Yes.
So that's my first work in progress.
Okay. Let me go to mine real quick. I have 2 today, but we'll start with this one. Because
She's
I
pretty.
don't know why. We're just starting with this one.
Yeah, no.
I started to have a reasoning and I was like, I don't really have a reason. I just grabbed this one first. But this is the Salty Days sweater by Veronica Lindberg, who goes by Kukavakika or Kika.
I've knitted her patterns.
I always, sometimes if I say it really fast, I feel like I can say it right, but sometimes
I'm afraid to be wrong.
yeah.
She has a great YouTube too, by the way, if you haven't seen her. And I think if I'm remembering right, she's expecting a baby soon.
Mm-hmm.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. It looks kind of small right now, but the gauge swatch grew a lot, so I have a feeling this one will too. So I'm not super nervous about it. It's very no, it's not popcorny. What is it?
Potato chippy.
Potato chippy.
Yes.
Just in the sense that like you switch every little bit, so that's been really fun. I honestly haven't worked on it that much, and it's still grown like a lot. Like I'm already through the yoke, and then I'm working on the body. What else? Oh, the yarn that I'm using is Vintage DK by Barocco. It was just something that I had in my stash. It is a wool acrylic blend, and I think there's one other fiber in there. I'm not 100% sure, but because there's a little bit of acrylic in it, it's a little bit more affordable than a lot of yarns. So if you're one of those people that's like only ever shopped at like Joann's or Michael's or like the like big box stores and are wanting to like go to a local yarn store and like find something that's still on the more affordable side, I would definitely recommend this. It's really soft, like it doesn't feel like it has any acrylic in it.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard people describe acrylic as squeaky.
Yeah, it's not squeaky.
It's not squeaky.
Yeah. No, I really like this yarn. It was just in my stash, which is why I picked it, but I have used it for other sweaters in the past, and I do like that those sweaters are not quite as hot as like 100% wool or 100% like alpaca or anything. You can wear, like I tend to grab them when the weather is transitioning because I'm not gonna die of heat stroke. If it's like 60 degrees or something, sometimes a wool sweater is too much. Yeah. So I do really like that yarn. So yeah, it's been good for this one. And then I paired it with this silk mohair blend by Knit Picks. So it's from their Loft collection, just in the white colorway. I think that's it. Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, so I'll let you know.
Is it a
how it
drop
goes when I finish.
shoulder or?
It is, yeah. So you cast on for the back, and actually, you have made a sweater by this designer before too.
Yeah.
I felt like the neckline was really short compared to most sweaters that I've knit, but then the like part right here was longer than most. Is that how yours was too?
No, that's okay. So she did the stripe pipe sweater. Speaking of, I used this yarn for the stripe pipe sweater. So that one I think was a little bit more simple because it was literally like knit a rectangle and then pick up shoulder stitches and then you worked like this part and
neck shaping.
Yeah, it was very rectangular, like no like shoulder shaping or anything like that.
Gotcha. This one's a little, here, let me grab it back again. This one is a little bit different from most drop shoulders that I've knit too, just in the sense, sort of like neck shaping reminded me. So you knit this like, the increases here to make kind of like a trapezoid type shape here, to shape the shoulders. But then when you get to the front part of the shoulder shaping, there's actually decreases right here for some like armhole shaping, which I don't typically see on most sweater patterns. So that was, or at least like drop shoulder sweater patterns. So that was kind of interesting. So you're like decreasing here, and then just about the point where those stop, don't quote me, I don't remember if it's exactly there, but like approximately there is when you start increasing on the other side to shape the neckline.
Interesting.
So I've never done that before in a drop shoulder, so I'm curious to see when I pick up the sleeves, like how that affects the shoulder or the shoulder and the sleeve shaping. I haven't read the pattern, so I don't know if the sleeves have any additional like short row shaping or anything else that we're gonna do there, but yeah, just kind of an interesting detail I haven't seen before, so I'm curious to see how that turns out. Yeah.
gonna look good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it grows. It does look a little small right now, but like I said, the swatch grew, so I'm not nervous yet.
You're making me want to cast a garment on. I thought I was just gonna stick with my small knits, but
Do it.
we'll see. I've got one more work in progress. It's another small knit, and one's done. Kind of. She's not been blocked, but I've been knitting some socks as well. Let me hold this in the middle. I feel like the dark color with the dark color. So this is an oak sock, I think is the name of it. I cannot think of the designer's name. We will put it in the description and I'll put it on the screen. But I know the name is the oak socks, and they have about like probably a little bit over 2 inches of ribbing, and then it's also a ribbing of it. This is like a 1x1 ribbing, and then a 3x1 ribbing. The pattern does have a different heel. I think it's a pretty similar construction, but just like a different pattern. I did a like slip stitch reinforced heel on this, and then everything else I think I followed pretty true to pattern. I can't wait to block it. I feel like socks always look a little funny before they've been blocked. But I knit this with my
pecan pie.
I was gonna say, is it pecan or pecan?
Oh.
Pecan. I'm gonna say pecan. Pecan pie set from Coast to Coast Fiber. They did or Erin, I guess, from Coast to Coast, along with a bunch of other indie designers last year at March for Pi Day, which is like 3.14, so March 14th. A lot of indie designers made like pie sets or like pie
Indie dyers.
Yeah. But they made like pie. Am I explaining that right?
Yeah, they made like pie themed sock sets.
Yes.
So like blueberry pie, pecan pie, chocolate pie, you know.
Pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
And so the Coast to Coast one, because we love Coast to Coast indie dyed yarn. She did the pecan set, and I really actually wanted to get this done before Thanksgiving because I just felt like that would be fitting. But then I was determined to finish this, so we knitted on this during Thanksgiving. So then as soon as I finished this, I was like, I'm gonna cast on some socks with my sock set. And so that's what we have been working on. This one is done but needs to be blocked, and then this one's on the heel. And I always think, if you're not a sock knitter and you've never seen this, I always think they look so bizarre at this part. But once you get past the gusset, it is totally okay. So, and I'd already wound this up, I think, before we'd even started the podcast. So if I have a picture of what the yarn looked like before when it came in, it was just beautiful. You've knit with yours already, so.
Yeah.
But you just did like
I did like a vanilla.
Yeah, vanilla socks. Yeah. So we did some ribbed socks here because I thought that would look kind of nice for the variegation in the yarn. Yeah. So hopefully they do that again this year. I thought that was so cute. The like.
Yeah, and I think the
pie
proceeds went to Harvesters or some other food related charity, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully they do that again next year.
I know, it was cute. So that's my other work in progress. Those are the only two things I have, are my Oslo hat and my socks.
I have one more whip, so I'll go ahead and share this one. This one is
I love it.
the Abby sweater by Sandnes Garn. It's rolling really bad, so we'll hold it down real quick.
Do you need any help?
No, it's fine.
She's cropped.
We'll hold it up. Yeah, she's very cropped. It's actually very similar to the green sweater that I was just holding up, the Kelly number 5, in the sense that it's a little bit cropped and then there's really long hems at the side, but this one doesn't have decreases on the hem. It's just gonna go straight down.
Okay.
So we'll put a picture as to what it's supposed to look like off to the side here, but it is meant to have a lot of positive ease, which it definitely does. So it's almost kind of funny. This one is like looking like it's gonna be a little too big, and my other whip is looking like it's like slightly too small. So we're gonna hope that
a Goldilocks situation.
Yeah, it's very much a Goldie, like too small, too big, just right sort of thing. But no, I think the lots of positive ease is gonna be really cute on it. And this was actually kind of a fun one because I really just picked the pattern because, one, I wanted to use this yarn. Again, it's Scout by Kettleborn Woolens. And I really liked this for my Eva cardigan, so I wanted to pick a pattern that would work for that. So that's why I kind of gravitated towards this one, because it was also like a DK weight that I thought would look really good in just wool. But then I thought it was drop shoulder because it looks drop shoulder
because it's so big.
Yeah, because it's so big, but it's actually a contiguous shoulder shaping similar to the Eva cardigan, which was kind of a fun surprise. Cool. I didn't read the pattern like I probably should have. I just like dove in and started, and so that when that came up in the instructions, I was like, oh, not what I thought I was signing up for, but I'm not mad about it, sort of thing. And the sleeves are kind of rolling, so they're hard to see too. But
did you wash your yarn before?
I did, yes. And thank you for everyone who left comments like with tips and advice and everything.
So in the last podcast, Jessica had said that when she used this yarn, the Scout, is that what it's called?
Yes.
The Scout yarn, that it bled a lot in the water, and so doing color work with that is like, is that a good idea?
Yeah, I was scared the black was going to bleed into the white. And so I was just looking around because I was like, I have my swatch here somewhere where I washed the yarn and then swatched, and the swatch came out fine.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of people left really good advice, and I really appreciated that. What I ended up doing is I cleaned my kitchen sink so much to make sure that it was okay, because, you know, food goes in there and stuff, so I like really cleaned my kitchen sink. And then I put twist ties around the yarn, which a lot of you told me to do, that way it doesn't get tangled. So that was really good advice. I did that. And then I soaked it in like warm water and vinegar. And I don't think it was quite a 50-50 ratio. I think I used like maybe 30% vinegar. It was still a strong enough ratio. My kitchen like really smelled.
I was gonna ask.
But the reason I did that is because a lot of people commented that either vinegar or like color blockers would work. And I had vinegar at home. So I was like, we're going to start with that because that's in my pantry and was easy to get to. So that's what we did. And so I let that soak for probably like 45 minutes or an hour, somewhere in that ballpark. And then I took it out. Well, I rinsed it first to like try to get some of the vinegar smell off of it. And then I took that out and I let that dry flat for a few days, just like in those big loops with all the twist ties around them. And then I had no problem winding it up after that. And then I did a swatch and I soaked that swatch and then let that dry, and swatch came out okay. So we have faith that this is going to be okay too.
It's going to look good.
Yeah, I hope so.
Can you still do color catchers or color blockers when you block this? Or are you like, I think it's good, I'm just going to throw this in a bath?
My plan is, it's good, we're just going to throw it in a bath to soak afterwards. But if, I don't know. People in the comments seem to be better experts than I am. So if anyone has any advice on that, I would continuously love to hear it. But I was pleasantly surprised by the vinegar and all the twist ties and everything like that. I feel confident now, which is good. It does smell a little bit like vinegar. So I think I'm going to use some wool wash whenever I do block it next. It's really faint. I think I only smell it because I'm like right up next to it.
I don't think I smell it.
Maybe it's just like certain parts where I'm getting whiffs of it. It's really faint. It's not like a constant thing or anything. But yeah, hopefully it's cute. I've been seeing TikToks about like contrast, how like if you have like low contrast in your skin between your hair and your skin tone, that you shouldn't wear like high contrast things like this. So that makes me a little bit nervous.
There's no rules,
but I like it, so we're gonna carry on.
Yes.
And forget what TikTok is saying right now.
Your vinegar thing reminded me, this was years ago. Like I was so new to the garment knitting. Like we've been knitting for pretty much our whole lives, but like garment knitting was a little bit later in life for us. And when I first started knitting garments, I didn't think that the dye lots mattered that much. I was like, that's something for snobby knitters. Yeah, no, I'll never ever make this mistake again. Because I knitted a whole sweater with different dye lots. I don't even think it was like 2 different ones. I think they were all different. Like it looked crazy. And at the time, we were living in this really tiny apartment, and I didn't notice until it was done. And then I took it out in the light, and I was like, and so I went and got that. It's like Rit dye remover. You can buy it at like Joann's or Michael's or something. And I think it was only $1 or $2. Like it's very cheap. And you do that. You like soak it in the bath and everything like that. Nobody on the internet told me how bad that stuff smelled. It smelled like, the only thing I can think was that it was like sulfur. And so it was like the same experience, but probably worse.
Oh, wait, I would take sulfur. Or no, I would take vinegar
over sulfur.
Yes.
Yeah, it was horrendous. It did work. It took it back to like the yarn was like a yellowish white, like a cream color. So it took
like that natural.
Yes, like it took the dye out completely. I was actually shocked at how well it worked, but would I do it again for that smell? So that's what your vinegar reminded me of, was that horrific. Worth it, because it got it.
Did you re-dye it? Did you dye it over it?
I think I did, and I just used RIT dye. I didn't really know what I was doing, but yeah, I dyed it like a subtle grayish color, and it worked out fine. I don't know that I would do it again.
Mine wasn't that bad. I would do the vinegar in the kitchen sink again. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wish I had my swatch, because I'd show you, like, it really did turn out well.
Yeah.
Do you have any other finished objects or acquisitions?
I don't have any acquisitions this month. I'm saving it for 2024 buying. We're not going to buy any more yarn in 2023. Smart. We save. We've got 3 weeks to go still, but that's the plan.
I did not do that, and I bought some more yarn, so I'll see if we can hold it up and have it focus maybe. I bought some Pure Gint in the PetiteKnit colorway. It's like the ash light gray color. And I am planning on making the storm sweater by PetiteKnit. I honestly bought this because my Artisan cardigan that we just talked about had that like zigzag pattern that was all knits and purls, and I loved that so much. I was like, I really want a pattern that's just knits and purls, but like in a textury way, and so I thought the storm sweater would be a good option for that. Also, it's kind of similar to my current whip of the Salty Days sweater, in that it's like broken up by these like horizontal stripes with different textures in between, and that like potato chippy feeling. I feel like I've been really enjoying it, so I kind of wanted another sweater that was in that same vein. I feel like I'm the type of person that like I go through like phases where I'm like, okay, I'm in my cable phase, and I'm in my like lace phase, and right now I feel like I'm in my knit purl texture phase. I honestly don't know when I'm gonna get to cast this on. I definitely want to finish at least one of my 2 whips, because I don't want to have 3 sweaters going at once. I can handle 2, but like anything more than that I feel like is a lot. So as soon as I finish one of those, I will be casting this on. And then I don't have it here with me, but I did get accepted into a test knit for Coco More Knits, for Cheryl from that account, for her Audrey jacket. And so the yarn for that, it has been sponsored by Gepard Yarn. So they're sending me some skeins of their Teddy Deer, which is like a boucle yarn.
Sponsored for the test knitters, not because you're like
yes,
a podcaster
like,
or something.
No,
like that. Yeah.
No, it's like all the test knitters they're sponsoring the yarn for, which was really nice of them. And honestly, that's kind of why I signed up, because I've never used like a boucle yarn before, and sometimes they're kind of expensive. So I was like, okay, this might be a really good opportunity for me to like test it out, help a designer that I have recently discovered that I really like. Hopefully I give good feedback. That's the plan. So yeah, that's still in the mail. I'm waiting for that to come in, because it is a test knit and it has a pretty tight deadline. As soon as that comes in, like literally everything else that's on my needles, I'm planning on dropping that and just focusing on that. But the gauge is pretty large. It's like US 9 or 10, something like that.
So it should go fast.
Yeah, it should go really fast. The deadline was originally going to be December 22nd, but since there was a delay in getting the yarn out, and it like, I don't even know if it's shipped. I just got an email this morning saying that they had like packaged my order, but I don't know if it's like officially out the door or not. So she's moved that deadline to end of January, assuming that we all get our yarn before Christmas. So I have some time off between Christmas and New Year's, and while I have a lot of plans for like house projects and things like that, I'm also hoping that I have a lot of time to dedicate to knitting and I can make good progress on that. So once that comes in, I'll probably post pictures of the yarn on like Instagram or something, but if not, we'll talk about it in the next episode. Yeah. But that's it for me. Those are all my acquisitions here or in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we have to share today. That kind of felt like a lot still, though.
If you made it this far, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, share what you've been working on. We love reading the comments and hearing what projects you're working on. I always watch podcasts with a little project in hand. Like I like to sit and feel like I'm knitting with somebody. So if you were working on anything, we love to hear those. And yeah, we read through all the comments and really appreciate when people have time to leave those comments for us. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.